Got to get it in. Does to Smith. Jabari for three and the win. Yeah! He got it!
We are here to fuel Rockets news. This is the Rockets Fuel podcast presented by the Believe Network and sponsored by Bet Online. Of course, I am your host, LaShar Binkley. I am a credentialed sports reporter covering the Houston Rockets and, of course, the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. You can find my written work over at Rockets on SI, which is part of Sports Illustrated, or you can find me on Twitter at Binkley Hoops. And today I had to do this podcast. Of course, you see I'm in my car again, but I had to get this podcast out as Rockets came away with a huge 120-118 victory over the Memphis Grizzlies. That makes it now 3-0 against Memphis, which is extremely important because that gives the Rockets the tiebreaker over the currently third place Memphis Grizzlies. And as in a tight Western Conference, you definitely need all the tiebreakers you can get. The Rockets trailed by 13 points in the fourth quarter. It looked like finally maybe Memphis was going to break through against the Rockets this season. As before, Jalen Green, the star of the game, went ballistic and brought the Rockets back. He finished with a career-high tying 42 points. He also had 4 assists. He was 11-11 from the free throw line, 13-18 from the field. Probably the most efficient overall offensive game of Jalen Green's career. He has been absolutely spectacular since the start of this new calendar year 2025. He's averaging 30 points. The Rockets are 5-1 in January, and it's because of Jalen Green, who has been, if not the best player in the league since the beginning of the new year. He's definitely top 3. Like I said, he's averaging that 30 points a game, shooting over 40% from three-point range. He is doing exactly everything that you would want from a star-level player that Jalen Green is starting to become. And as you heard in my last podcast, I talked about him starting to change the narrative. I mean, this just kind of solidifies it, as it's not just been this month. He's been playing great for the last couple of months, and he's doing this before the end of the season, which a lot of people were saying that's the only time he really played well. He only played well against bad teams. They kind of started throwing that out there when he was playing better in December and in January, but now he's doing it against everybody. He's doing it against the Memphis Grizzlies of the world. He's doing it against the Los Angeles Lakers. He is just playing great against everybody. And he was the main reason why the Rockets were able to pull out that 120-118 victory, which was probably one of the better games of the entire year. I mean, highly competitive. Not a lot of stoppage in play, not a lot of turnovers as far as, well, I'll take that back. There was a lot of turnovers on the Rockets side. They had 23 turnovers last night, but it just didn't seem to affect the flow of the game last night. It was definitely one of the better just overall games I've seen any two teams play this entire season. I mean, Ja Morant was great on the other side. Desmond Bane took over in the third quarter, and it kind of seemed like that was going to push the Grizzlies over. And then, like I said, Jalen Green, the Rockets just took over late in that fourth quarter. Jalen Green hit pretty much the game winner, even though it was still some time left on the clock when he hit that shot basically almost over his shoulder with the defender going up and down, but Jalen Green was still able to get the bucket to go to put the Rockets up 3, and they were able to hold on to end the game as Ja Morant missed 2 free throws for pretty much clinched the game for the Houston Rockets. So you cannot say enough about Jalen Green. He completely outdueled Ja Morant last night. There was one point where Ja Morant hit almost a mid-court shot, and Jalen Green came right back down and got an and-one reverse layup. And as he's going back towards the free throw line, him and Ja Morant bump, not anything malicious, but they bump, and it's kind of almost acknowledgement like, okay, yeah, you're having a great game. And they kind of both were saying that to each other, and it's almost like Jalen Green was letting him know, like, hey, I've arrived, and I'm not at your level yet, but I'm definitely planning on getting there. And he's showing the entire NBA that he is exactly what the Rockets were hoping he would be when they drafted him second overall in 2021. And not just Jalen Green last night, even though Jalen Green was spectacular. I want to talk about 2 other players that really stood out for the Houston Rockets last night and was a huge reason why the Rockets won the game. I mean, the entire team played great, but these 2 players just definitely were, along with Jalen Green, the reason why the Rockets won that game. I want to next talk about Cam Whitmore. And Cam Whitmore, as everybody knows, has had a really strange season. He started off the season 1 for 21 from three-point range. Only played 1 game from November 4th until the first week of December. Then was sent down to the G League, spent a lot of time in the G League. Didn't come back to the Rockets to December 19th. Then, of course, the narrative started coming around that he has a bad attitude, and then the video started floating around about he maybe bumped into Tari Eason or Jalen Green, and maybe it was some friction between Cam Whitmore and the Rockets, and then of course it was a strange interview that he had after a Rockets win where he played 20+ minutes. Actually, I was at that interview, and I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of a awkward interview at the time, but still, even when people were circulating a video of him going to the bench and bumping into players, I still was like, I'm not gonna make too much of it because I don't know the whole story. It's kind of hard to make a narrative out of just one little clip, which a lot of people like to do on social media. Unfortunately, it's kind of the way it is. And we saw again last night why Cam Whitmore is so important to the Houston Rockets. Since coming back to the Rockets on December 19th, Cam Whitmore has played in every single game. 24 of 57 from three-point range. He's shooting 42%, which is second on the team only to Jason Tate. And yes, Jason Tate is shooting good from three-point range, but he's basically only taken like one three-pointer a game since that period. So really, Cam Whitmore has been the Rockets' best three-point shooter since coming back from the G League, which is a huge development for the Houston Rockets, especially without Tari Eason, especially without Jabari Smith. Cam Whitmore was almost a point per minute player last season, and a huge reason why the Rockets were able to go 41-41. Now they're getting that player back this season, which is a big time development. And if the Rockets can continue to get that kind of level of play that they're getting from Cam Whitmore, that would be huge. He had 16 points last night. He was a big reason why the Rockets were able to stay in that game, especially in the second and third quarter, because he, like I said, he was one of the only guys in that second, third quarter could really hit a shot, and he was able to keep the Rockets afloat. He had a team high plus 12 plus minus last night. And again, it wasn't just the offensive end. He also was hustling on the defensive end. He wasn't a ball stopper last night. Something I know Ime said that he needed him to work on. So if they can continue to get this Cam Whitmore for the rest of the season, man, that is a big time development for the Houston Rockets. And of course, the third and final play, and I can't forget about Amenthompson. Outside Jalen Green, Amenthompson was the best player on the court for both teams last night. Not only did he have a double-double last night, he had 5 blocks, which tied a career high. And it's just the type of blocks he's getting. I mean, the first block of the game was somehow he was guarding his defender, was quick enough to jump from behind, block Desmond Bane's jump shot. I mean, Desmond Bane barely got off the floor. That's how quick Amenthompson was to get into that block shot. Another block shot he had was Ja Morant tried to bully him to the basket, kind of pushed off, and still Amenthompson was fast enough to get up off the floor and block a Ja Morant. Ja Morant is one of the most athletic players in the league, has one of the quickest jumps from the floor up to the basket of anybody in the entire NBA. And Amenthompson almost made him look like he was standing in cement. That's how fast Amenthompson got off the floor to block the shot. Then, of course, he had another one where he blocked it off the rim. Made the great pass to Jalen Green, who made the step back 3 in the fourth quarter. And it wasn't just the block shots. It wasn't just a double-double. He also made some great passes last night. I mean, Amenthompson, I don't know how much more you can say about Amenthompson at this point. He even made a 3 last night. If he continues to start to make those corner threes, I mean, there's just no way you can put Amenthompson on the bench. I don't know how that's going to work out as far as when Jabari Smith come back, but that's a really good problem to have, is having one of the best young and up-and-coming player in the league in Amenthompson. I mean, I've been watching basketball, especially Rockets basketball, since the 80s. There's Hakeem Olajuwon way up here when it comes to best defenders in Rockets history. It's not even close. But since Hakeem Olajuwon, and I don't think this is going overboard, I can't think of a better overall defender than Amenthompson, and he's only in his second season. I mean, the Rockets have had players like Trevor Ariza, PJ Tucker, who was one of the best one-on-one defenders in the league for several seasons. Don't get me wrong, PJ Tucker was great, but PJ Tucker was not as good as an overall defender, from one-on-one defense to help defense to be able to block shots to steals to just being a complete disruptive player on the court on the defensive end. I can't think of another player on the Rockets that has been as good as Amenthompson. And if it was for Victor Wembanyama, I mean, again, I don't think it's going overboard. Has there been a better defender in the NBA than Amenthompson? I can't think of one now. I don't watch every single game, so maybe I'm missing someone. But my God, he is unbelievable, and he's the best defender I've seen on the Rockets since Akeem Olajuwon. And again, I'm not saying he's better than Akeem Olajuwon. Nobody's better than Akeem Olajuwon on defensive end, not just the Rockets, in the entire NBA. Akeem is the best defensive player to me all time as far as just overall defensive players in NBA history. But Amenthompson, man, he is unbelievable. And he's only 21 years old. He won't be 22 to the end of January. He's nowhere near his prime, and he's already one of the better defensive players in the entire NBA. Man, the Rockets really knocked it out of the park with this draft pick, and he is becoming invaluable when it comes to Houston Rockets. And again, last night, even though Ja Morant did have 29 points and still had a really good game, he had 7 turnovers, and I guarantee this is the hardest 29 points of Ja Morant's entire career. Amenthompson, definitely, along with Jalen Green and Cam Whitmore, were the 3 players that were the biggest reason why the Rockets were able to come away with the victory. The Rockets are now 26-12, second in the Western Conference. Like I said, have a tiebreaker over Memphis. They're 11-3 against the top teams in the Western Conference this season. They've beaten everybody except the Denver Nuggets, who they haven't played yet, and they'll play them upcoming later this week. There's really not a team in the Western Conference that the Rockets should be scared of. If Jalen Green is going to play like this the rest of the year, there's nobody the Rockets should be scared of. Not to say that they're better than OKC, because OKC is a really good team, but who should the Rockets be scared of? There's no 2017-18 Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference. I mean, outside of Oklahoma City, I would put the Rockets favorite in any series right now in a playoff series. There's no team that I would be scared of if I'm the Houston Rockets. They continue to get this from Jalen Green. If at some point they can get back Tyrese, who missed his 12th straight game, and then of course you're still going to get Jabari Smith back, and maybe Reece Shepard's finally getting his confidence back after this G League stint. I mean, this is a pretty amazing turnaround. Coach Ime Udoka is definitely the coach of the year so far. I know Cleveland and Oklahoma City have a better record, but no one was surprised when Oklahoma City and Cleveland started off the way they did. I would guarantee 99% of the people outside of the Rockets are, if not surprised, they are definitely looking like, wow, I did not expect the Rockets to be 26-12 in January and second in the Western Conference. So Ime Udoka is definitely, so far as he's the coach of the year. I mean, can you not say that Rafael Stone is probably the general manager of the year? Enough credit's not given to him that he took a team that was pretty much gutted, was up against the salary cap when James Harden decided he wanted to leave the Rockets. And now in 3 years of being the worst team in the league, they are now a top 3-4 team in the entire NBA as far as record is concerned. There's not too much more you can say about the Houston Rockets right now that hasn't already been said lately. They are just one of the better teams in the league. They play again upcoming. They have a back-to-back on Wednesday and Thursday. They have another 3-game road trip before they're back home next week when they take on Detroit Monday. And then probably one of the biggest games of the year, they'll be taking on Cleveland Cavaliers next Wednesday. That's the next game I'll be out at. I'll definitely make sure that we're bringing you pre and post. And as you see on the channel, we continue to bring you all the content that you'll ever need as far as the Rockets are concerned. So if you're a first-time viewer of this channel, definitely welcome in, and please subscribe. And please like this video because it helps us with the algorithm. We're going to continue to grow this channel. We're almost at 3,500 subscribers, and as usual, I appreciate support. And make sure you check out the next episode of Rocket Fuel Podcast.